What are you guys need?
What page is it on?
It's not starting yet. It messed up.
Okay, it'll be on Intuitive Arts Festival?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I was just looking for it.
Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. My name is Andrea Zonis, and I'm the organizer of the Intuitive Arts Festival. Well, I am so excited for our talk show tonight because we have got some amazing people that we are going to be talking to. So I just want to let you know that we have a pop-up sale that's coming up on Halloween. We are going to be in front of the Da Vinci Center from 12 until 3 p.m. And we're going to be doing some card pulls, and we're going to be having a little crystal grid party. Big thanks to the Boho tribe for donating those crystals to us. And as well, we're going to have a book and spiritual gift exchange. So that is sure to be a lot of fun. Well, I am not going to wait for another moment. I'm going to invite our first guest in, and we have Serafina Christine, who will be joining us this evening to be able to talk about her work. Hello, Serafina. How are you? The audio is just connecting. Oh, yay. There we go.
How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Wonderful. So, Serafina, tell us about you and the amazing work that you do working with the Ascended Masters.
Okay, cool. That's such a general question. Basically, my name's Serafina, and I am a channel and a mystic. I have been working with the Ascended Masters for the last few years, but I was originally trained as a medium over a decade ago, and I just kind of wanted to keep refining my practice until I got to the point where I was working with the Ascended Masters, and I kind of like wove in and out of the spiritual world, kind of being like, yes, I provide readings, but then I was never really happy because I really just wanted to help people move into being the best versions of themselves possible. But I wanted to do it from like a mystical point of view because I really am a mystic and an oracle at heart. And when I started working with the Ascended Masters, I was like, wow, this is so amazing. And then one day I was doing tarot readings at an event, and all of a sudden, and the Ascended Master, like the master that I was working with, just kind of came in like a ball of fire. And I was just like, what's happening right now? And the Ascended Master was like, well, you know, this person needs our information. So that's what's happening. And then two more came in like balls of fire. And I was just kind of like, okay, I guess this is what I'm doing. And I gave the client the reading from the masters, and she was just blown away. She was like, this is exactly what I needed. I needed that energy work. I'm working with those masters. Like, she already knew, even though she hadn't mentioned that. And after, when I connected with the masters, they were just kind of like, this is what you're meant to do. So you have to start working with us. You have to start providing sessions to people with us, because we want to be reaching as many people as we can in order to help them actually ascend and actually understand what 5D living is, and actually help them live as an embodiment of a master and live as the embodiment of sovereignty. So those are kind of like the key words that we work with. And they've been training me for the last couple of years that I've been channeling them on what that looks like, what that means. And it really does mean the opposite of what a lot of people think it means. A lot of people think it means like, you know, spaced out, disembodiment, having to meditate a lot, but it's not. It's really about coming into your body, being embodied, living a human life. What is that? What brings you joy? What brings you happiness? How do you bring more of that here in the present moment? And how do you move out of those dark places in your life in a way that a master would do that? How do you present to the world in a way and walk in your own personal mastery? So it's a lot of stuff about that. And in a reading, when we sit down with the council for the masters, we talk a lot about the spiritual aspects and the karmic aspects, but we also talk about where can you take self responsibility, where can you move forward in your life in ways that will make a big impact, even if they're small. How do you bring more joy into your life and more pleasure into your life? How do you become more human in your life?
Wow, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
That's one of the beautiful things about this intuitive journey is that when you really tap in, all of the information just kind of presents itself, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Ah,
it really does.
so when did you discover that you had this inner mystic within you?
Well, I think it would be really in my late teen years when I started working with a Reiki master. I was really fascinated by all the esoteric kind of books and the mystical books and anything really that went more into the mystic side of things. I was like, oh my God, yes, I want to float in outer space. And yes, I totally want to like bend energy and make things move. I was always like so into that. But then when I found Reiki, it was kind of like, oh wow, I can actually feel this energy. I can actually shift this energy. And at the time, I actually thought that everybody could speak to their spirit guides. I had no idea that it was a thing that no that other people didn't really do. Um, So I still remember like the first conversation that I had with somebody where they were like asking me questions to ask their spirit guides. And I literally looked at them and I was like, you're in this Reiki class. Like, why don't you just like ask your spirit guides? And they were like, what do you mean? Why don't I ask your spirit guides? And I was just like, no, seriously, they're standing right beside you. Ask them. And they looked at me and they were like, I can't. And I'm like, what do you mean you can't? And it was like this huge like realization where they actually literally had to explain to me that it's not normal.
Wow.
And so I kind of feel like I've always had this kind of mystical bend to me, but I thought that was just normal. And now I'm like a decade later and I'm like, wow, this is a really unique part of me that should be shared. And it could help a lot of people. And in my work one on one with people, it often does help a lot of people feel supported in their own unique gifts. Because part of working with the masters and the sovereignty is like, you are beautiful, special, you are a key, you are this unique person that has so much to give the world, and that's each of us. That's not just me, not just you, not just you know Patty down the street because I love her, but every single person has their own uniqueness and their own way of being in the world that is special and is potent and does give love back to the world. So how do we cultivate that? Because that's part of your self mastery.
Beautiful. So when they talk to you, how do the messages feel to you? Is it more of like a visceral feeling or like auditory, more visual? Can you describe that process for us?
All of the above. When I first really started to hone in, because I realized that it was a unique gift that I could cultivate, it was mostly auditory. So I would say that auditory is my strongest gift. Um, and then just feeling different emotions and just kind of knowing. Um, but then I really cultivated visualizations and the visual aspects. I worked for several years cultivating that as well. So now I'm in a space where a lot of times my readings are full body experiences, and I gain multiple levels from like scent to visual to hearing. And sometimes I've also, because I was trained as a medium initially, sometimes the spirits do take over my body, because that was how I was initially trained. And that's always an interesting experience, because then it's just kind of like my voice changes, my character changes, the way like people tell me that the way I look and the way I feel completely changes when the spirit is inside of me. Um, so it depends.
Oh, that's so interesting. To be like a physical medium and
Yeah.
to be able to embody that energy that comes through. How do you find the process in like when when the spirit comes through? How does the spirit leave? And what's that feeling for you when that happens?
Oh, I am really blissed out usually. um, Yeah, I'm usually pretty blissed out when the spirit leaves, and it's kind of just like there's like just a lot of energy happening, and then when the spirit leaves, it's kind of like I can relax, because usually when a spirit is inside of me, I have a lot of movement. I have to move a lot when they're inside of me. So, I spent a couple years cultivating working with different goddesses, and what we would do is I would embody the goddess inside of my body, and I would actually dance her out. And it was like this whole process where I would go shopping with her in my body. So I'd go into like a thrift store and I'd be like, "Okay, let's come on, Callie, let's go." And Callie would enter my body, and then we would shop for the clothes that she wanted to dance in, and then I would spend time dancing with her. So I kind of got I guess I kind of got used to like moving when spirits are inside my body, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, for sure. And that movement, I know that there's like a lot of mediums, they do like movements to just help to get in that zone, right? And it's the embodiment of that spirit. I mean, that is such an amazing gift to be able to have. Have you done more like group sessions and these kinds of things? I get a sense that you have, or at least you will be.
I haven't done a lot of group sessions. I've actually just recently started. So I did Let's backtrack. So when I was working with the goddesses, I did some performances and in front of groups of people. And my guides, actually JC, I call Jesus JC because he's been hanging out with me, so JC is just easy. Um, but JC was very he wanted to make sure that I knew that the work that I was doing was very sacred, and that when you perform this kind of work in front of lots of people, you open yourself up to a lot of different spirits. And so not necessarily the one spirit that I'm working with um, would be safe inside of like a room of like 200 people, right? And so after JC kind of gave me this warning, I kind of backed off and was kind of like, I'll do that as private performances. And so with the Ascended Masters, it's usually just like one on one. And I recently started doing work with a group of 4 women, where we're actually meeting every month to work with Magdalene. And Magdalene is guiding us through a process of initiation of priestesshood.
Mm.
And so it's the first time that I've worked in a space where I I have people who are listening to me in such a deep way, and allowing space for the spirit to come through. It feels very sacred and it's very safe, and it's been life changing for myself to be able to have my channel received by a group of people who honor and respect the information that's coming through. And not only that, but to give reflections on their own experiences of the information that's coming through from the spirits.
Beautiful. It's so wonderful when you find that little group or those people that you have that connection with and that you really trust, right? Because that's like so key in this like intuitive work is just what you were saying around listening, right? And active listening, because it's such a huge part of being able to connect to our intuition. So if you have a little bit of advice to give people that are stepping forward on their spiritual path, and maybe they're just kind of right at the beginning and feeling a little bit apprehensive about everything, what would you offer?
Are we talking about like newbies or are we talking about people who want to work with the Ascended Masters?
Let's do both.
Okay. For newbies, white light is your best friend
Yes.
all the time. White light everything. If you want to create sacred space for yourself, white light that space. Just white light everything. You're having a bad day, you have negative thoughts, white light it all. It's your best friend, literally.
Yep, I know when I'm speeding down the road, I always do one of these, or if I run a red light, I'm like, okay, let's put a little white light around this.
That's exactly it. Exactly. And then if you want to work with the Ascended Masters, the Ascended Master energy I've learned is not available to everybody. Um, just simply because it's a vibration. It's a certain vibration, and it takes some practice to be able to hold certain frequencies. And it's not that it's better than any other frequency or anything like that. It's just you just need to practice holding certain frequencies when you're doing channeling work and working with certain aspects of the universe, right? And so if you really want to tune into that frequency, then the best thing that you can do is just start inviting the Ascended Masters to come hang out with you.
Oh,
Don't even try talking. Like, you can try talking if you want, but you can just say, hey, let's hang out. Because by the very process of them hanging out with you, they are shifting your frequency into their own frequency and helping uplift your frequency. So just before bed, hey, I'd really like to tune into Mary Magdalene. I can guarantee you that she will come and she will hang out with you. And you might not feel it at first, but if you keep inviting them, they'll keep coming. And one day you're going to start having a full on conversation with her and you're going to be like, how did this happen? And it's literally because they've been hanging out, offering that energy. So that's what I would say for the Ascended Masters.
oh, thank you. It's so beautiful. I really appreciate having you come on our show today, and being able to share all of your knowledge and wisdom. And you're also offering a workshop as part of the Intuitive Arts Festival on Ascended Masters. So if you out there are interested in finding out more about the Ascended Masters, check out the workshop, or perhaps even book in a reading with Serafina, just so that you can really get a feel for what this work is all about and see if it's the right fit for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It was a
Thank
pleasure
you.
having you on our show.
It was great to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, everybody, we have our next special guest that is coming forward. We have Mr. David Zunker. And so I'm just going to let him in to our room here. And I've hit admit. So he should be coming in any moment now. David Zunker is a longtime mystic, as well as being a pagan and a priest. And I was so blessed.
Oh my
Hello,
goodness.
David.
Hi.
Welcome. How are you?
Oh my goodness. I got two of us going at once here. Just a sec.
Okay.
All right.
Lovely. I was just telling everybody about you and how you're an amazing mystic, a tarot reader, palmist. You do astrology. You have a
What
daily
is going
astrology
on?
blog that I always read. It looks good on mine, so we're good to go if you're good to go. And it's Mercury retrograde for all of you in the
Uh,
audience. If you don't know about Mercury retrograde, Mercury is the trickster. And so,
uh,
especially around times when we're using technology, sometimes Mercury likes to come in and,
there.
just rearrange everything.
There we are.
Oh,
Poof.
wonderful.
Yeah, no, poof. I was trying to have it up on Facebook as well, so there's a delay, and it was, well, holy moly, what's going on here? But anyway, Hi, Andrea.
Hi,
Nice to see you.
David. So, David, tell us about yourself.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, sure. Where's the clock here? We're a little stretched here, aren't we? So you'll give me like the 2-minute buzzer or something, right?
I can do that.
Uh, yeah, where do I start? I've always been into, I guess, esoteric stuff, mysticism. Even as a little kid, I like to call it raised Catholic light because I just stopped having to worry about going to church by the time I was 11 or 12. So, but Catholicism's a real magical trip. You know, and not to be don't want to be too derogatory or anything, but it's like holy moly, that's the body, that's the blood, that's quite the magic trick. So
Absolutely.
I've always been into I guess magic and the idea about like even when I was a little kid, I'd have to um, go over to one side of my little single bed so my guardian angel could get off its feet. Oh, it's been on its feet all day. It must be tired.
Aw.
But and then I guess I really think um, people ask about their past lives, but I really think and somewhere inside there's going to be indicators all through your life. I think, I remember watching this, I guess it's from the late 50s, really kind of award-winning movie, big production called The Egyptian. And it was actually about ancient Egypt during this, when King Tut. Tutankhamun decided that he was going to change the whole religious structure and make one God. And it caused a lot of chaos and collapse and eventual revolution. And he got the boot, but well, he didn't. His plan didn't succeed. But anyway, even as I think 10-year-old or something, oh my gosh, it had such an impact. It was as though it was awakening memories. And I also remember when I was young too, I would have these recurring dreams. And so I just kind of reflect on your own recurring dreams and stuff. And I'm sure you'll find some interesting information. I was like, it would happen several times that I felt I was in a different body with big shoulders and big, like a long kind of white gray beard and standing around the campfire with a bunch of other dudes and some like wolf dogs around. So really, like really primitive, but I think it was like kind of a hunting party and kind of prehistoric kind of Europe or something like that. And then I actually would actually always get kind of things like after like kind of a date maybe that didn't really go very well. Couple of those, and then I had like this a total dream like a night later, which was like all about why I didn't want to be in a relationship with this person because I was like remembering all these like a couple different past lives where it was just not good. And I think once when people do connect to their past lives and those sort of memories, I think one time I did go for a regression that was very successful with me. And however, it wasn't. It was sort of a hypnotic state where the facilitator had me telling her what I saw and felt and was experiencing. So you're not totally out, and but it was very effective. And then I had actually learned a method of meditation with this. I took a Wicca 101 class in New Westminster. It was called the Pagan Book Place, right on the main drag. And but one of the things we learned there, lots of things, but one of the things I learned there was a meditation to access past lives. And you go into this like kind of temple, and there's all these doors, and you can peek in them. Um, and I guess there's one thing that you learn from connecting to past lives is we really got it good in the 20th, 21st century. Holy moly. You know, a lot better than just a couple hundred years ago when the life expectancy was like 50 and there wasn't any medical help for any of your issues. And most everybody was basically living in a mud floor and impoverished, starving conditions, except for a few. And so you learn that, you know, if you have that sort of past life perspective, you really appreciate like things like plumbing and the hot shower and,
Opening up your fridge and just grabbing some food.
and grabbing some food. Yes, food daily.
Ooh.
Wow. Yeah, no, I'm not into fasting, but uh, yeah, I had so I've always been into astrology since I was like 17. I was talking to no, I remember when I was like 15. Was saw in the Time magazine about the Beatles hanging out with the Maharishi. So I thought, oh, I got to try this meditation business, and I really hadn't heard anything else about it. But I just and I didn't have a mantra or whatever, but I did manage to kind of try to stop my thoughts, just be blah blah blah, just stop my thought. I was 15. I ended up sitting in my room by myself, and I launched myself across the freaking galaxy into this sort of spiral of stars and stuff. It was whoa, that worked. And so I kind of would do that. Started meditating, different forms of meditation. I was just sort of making up as it was going along. It wasn't all flowers and light, though. I think it was around the same time period there was an urban myth. Yes, there was urban myths before the internet. There was an urban myth that if you played the first Black Sabbath record and it was in a darkened room with a candle in front of a mirror, that you could call Satan to sell your soul. But it didn't work. It didn't work. Just,
Oh
shucks.
darn!
Shucks.
I remember the Bloody Mary ones. You remember that?
Oh
Where
yeah,
you
yeah,
say
yeah,
Bloody
yeah,
Mary 3 times, and then
yeah.
she would appear, and we'd be
No,
downstairs in the basement in front of the mirror trying to make her come in for us. But yeah.
yeah, it's just it'd be good for a scream or two, but that's about it. What was that? It's the cat. Oh my gosh. Well, I was hanging out with some kids, and I think we were even doing like we were like I had Ouija board stuff when I was like a tween, and we were like having seances when we were like little kids, and so but anyway, tarot and astrology from 17, and then tarot. I just got a deck of cards and was trying to do it when I was like in my 20 or something. But yeah, that led to this fellow. I was going to Cap College, and one of the times I dropped out of post-secondary education. And but there's a fellow had a little office in an apartment building in North Van, and tarot card reading. So I go, oh, I'm going to try this. I'm sort of learning about it myself, and go get a tarot card reading. Anyway, the dude, I ended up being friends with him years later, and then enemies. But he told me some really kind of, he was doing this reading, la di da. But I remember even to this, so this is, gosh, this is like 40 years ago almost. And I remember the fellow told me a very specific thing about, you don't want to buy a big white van. I said, I see you driving a big white van. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. So like 2.5 months later, I'm driving in a big white van because it's part of my job I got after I quit school for the Canadian Mental Health. I was a workshop supervisor for Canadian Mental Health, and we'd get the attendees to do some goofy jobs, and then we'd go down to the warehouse. Anyway, we're driving this van, so I thought, whoa, I got to go talk to this guy some more. And he told me that well, if you're interested in tarot, it's all about the Kabbalah. You gotta do that. So, and then a few months later after that, I guess maybe more like a year, it was in Banyan Books, and there was this little thing that said Kabbalistic study group, phone Phyllis. So I did, And sure enough, she taught me, was my teacher for the most part around meditation, around what she called Kabbalistic ceremonial white magic, which is path working and doing stuff on the tree of life, and the magic that is sort of taught, I guess, in the Golden Dawn at the previous turn of the previous century. Aleister Crowley and W.B. Yeats, and well, of course, it's where the Rider Waite tarot deck comes from. And Waite was also in the Golden Dawn. So that's when I started to learn magic. Um, even before that, I was into uh, did a little bit of university before I quit university. But my favorite class was classic mythology, so which was all about Greek mythology, mostly Greek mythology.
Absolutely.
And I was really into that. I think I was like in grade 6, and I built a Parthenon that was like 3 feet long out of sugar cubes and rolled up toilet rolls and rolled up paper for and but we had this huge Parthenon. Well, um, I got it written up. If you people are connected to me on Facebook, it's deep in the Facebook in the notes. In notes, I used to use that for sort of a blog, and I have a description of where I quite innocently, at around, I guess, 21 years of age, had a vision of a goddess in my room. I saw the goddess Athena, well, sort of a shorter version, like a normal human-sized version, because I think if you actually do, when you do meet these, I've met her since, and she's like 50 feet tall. So, but i- in this version, I was had this. Of course, we've all heard of the sleep paralysis, right? Well, in this case, I was lying in my bed in my room, and opened my eyes, and I was sort of sitting up a little bit, leaning up in the bed, and the whole room was supposed to be dark, but it was bathed in this like gray light from no particular source. And there, standing uh, at the foot of my bed to the right, was this goddess. It was like the white toga with the gold thread kind of borders, with a gold helmet on her, a big shield, and a big uh, like lance, and uh, a big owl on her shoulder. I've been on her right shoulder, with these like a golden sort of owl but the eyes were like bright orange lights. And so I'm lying there and go, you know, holy moly, to myself. But then I find that I can't move, that I'm paralyzed. And so I start to kind of get a little anxious. But I mean, it's not like some demon or anything scary. It's wow. And then, but because I've had already like a number of years meditation experience, I figure out enough to, well, I need to calm down. And I start monitoring my breathing and watching, controlling, and making full, deep, and relaxing my breath. And so, if anybody has sleep paralysis, try that. Get get some get in your get some little mindfulness going on and calm your breath. Because what happened was I calmed myself, and she was still there. So then I managed to tap my leg, and she was still there. And I was tapping my leg. When I wanted to tap my leg, I wasn't asleep, and she was still there. And so, but by that time I was calm and just kind of fascinated. And I said, "Hello, what can I do for you?" And then poof, she disappeared, and the room was dark. And I, often thought, even years later, that maybe I said the wrong thing. Maybe I should have said something. But in retrospect, and really thinking about it, that is the perfect thing to say if you meet a goddess. What can I do for you?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing, David. And I just think it's so fascinating that like we as humans have been having these experiences for thousands of years, right?
Oh
And like
yeah.
in all of the stories and the mythology and everything, like humans have been having these visions that have come forward. And it's so wonderful that it's still happening even in our modern age as well.
Well, that's what I got. That's what I like to tell people, and take that opportunity to do right now is to tell people that if you were at all interested in what's on the other side of the veil from this 3D reality stuck in time, which I've always been really interested in, how the heck does this go on? Um, Number one is believe your own experience.
Mhm.
And, as crazy as that sounds, go ahead, be crazy, because believing your own experience is the way to really a richer, more fulfilling, and a spiritual life. And it's one thing to believe your own experience, and another thing to kind of start telling people that you're Jesus or what have you, or that you're reading minds and stuff. Chill on that. Chill
I
on
think
that.
people just get so excited when they first experience it.
Yeah.
And after you go through the process and you like live with it for a while,
And
it
it's
just
like,
becomes so much a part of your normal day-to-day life, right?
yeah, just make it normal. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, thank you so much, David.
You're very
I'm
welcome.
really
And it's
looking
fun.
forward to your meditation that you're doing as part of
It's
our
fun. It's
workshops.
a fun one.
Yeah, so and be sure to check it out because I've done David's meditation, and if you want to travel, it's a good way to travel without even leaving your
It's
house.
the
So
best way to
I would highly
travel.
recommend
You
it.
betcha. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for joining us this evening, David.
All righty.
Okay, have
Bye.
a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Well, up next, we've got Rona Beaumont that is joining us. And I am so excited for you to be able to meet Rona. Hello.
Hello.
How
I've
are
been
you?
listening to all the presenters before. What amazing people.
Mhm.
Yeah, what a great group. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for all you're doing. Oh my goodness. You must be working 24/7 to get all of these moving pieces together to do this event. So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. It is like a buttload of work, but it's always worth it in the end because we're changing people's lives and we're helping people to understand more about themselves. And I had the realization when I was really young that as one person, I could only do so much. But like
Yes.
as a group and like a community, just like imagine the amount of people that we can be able to help. So I'm really happy that you're joining us, Rona. And I'd love for you to tell everybody more about the amazing work that you do.
Oh, thank you, Andrew. And this is my first event on Vancouver Island, my first sort of live event since moving here. So I'm very excited to be here as well. I lived for 16 years in Calgary. Before that, I was obviously in the UK, if you hadn't guessed that. And by the way, I don't have an accent. Everyone else has an accent because I speak English properly, right?
Yep. I've heard that one before.
I know, right? So anyway, when I moved to Calgary, very similar, Andrea. I was keen to like get people together. I got to get people together because I think you feel that draw about I want to be with a tribe. I want to be with my tribe. I want to find my people. Because I'm sure you've experienced this, Andrea. Like sometimes people sort of, you say what you do and they're sort of slowly backing out the room. They're like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I really just got to go for a glass of wine, So you can feel like pretty lonely sometimes. You have this sort of psychic, this intuitive, the spiritual self, and you're keen to chat to everybody. And then, the blank stares come in and what is this all about? So when I moved to Calgary, obviously I didn't know anybody. I was told by my guides that this was part of our journey, that we needed to go to Canada, and packed up, left everything behind, no car, no job, nothing, just packed the house up and traveled 5,000 miles across the pond to come to Canada with my husband and two small boys. Yes, and we lived in a hotel on the main McLeod Trail in Calgary, for those that know it. That's where we were until we found a house. So I just wanted to find community, and that's how I sort of started my connections in Canada and built something called Spirit and Soul, which is Calgary Healers Association, where we all sort of got together. And then I would say like about 10 years ago, I got this, we came to Vancouver Island with my two little small boys. And and you've had this experience, you know, like when you get on that ferry and you feel that energy in your heart, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is home. This is home. And you get the shivers and you get the goosebumps. This is where you're supposed to be. I was getting that full on. I'm like, how? We've just moved to Calgary and I just got a kid in a school. And oh my God, how am I going to do this? Because then your mind goes into this place, doesn't it? You're thinking, how am I going to organize all of this? So I had this sort of long-term plan, put it that way. I had a long-term plan. I encouraged my children to go to University of Victoria. Funnily that they both stayed after they turned in Victoria. I suggested to my tourist husband, wouldn't it be a good idea to like, maybe we should help him purchase somewhere, like a house somewhere. So encourage him to stay on the island, yeah? So all of these things have been going on. So finally, yeah, I've just been here a year now and I finally got here and I'm just feel so grateful. I got called by my main guide who's called Gideon, who said to me, well, this time last year, literally almost this time last year, he said, you know what? I said, you need to leave now. Calgary, it's time to go. And we hadn't planned to leave for like another few years. Okay, why? He said, just go, sell your place, move your business online. Because at that time, 90% of my business was face-to-face. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, go. So call the realtor around. You've probably been through this experience, right? And the realtor's sitting there and he's saying, yeah, difficult time to sell. Market's down, Calgary's going through a recession, right? And they're all like, you know, oh, really? And of course, your guides are telling you, like, you know, you're going to sell this place in 10 days and you're going to get it for more than he's just about to tell you. You know, those conversations that go in your head? And you're like, okay, so I keep quiet. I just let him do his spiel. So he did his spiel, lovely guy. Anyway, so I said, that's fine, we're going to sell, don't worry about it. So I said to him, it's 10 days, it's going to be the second people that come to the house. And yeah, we're going. So don't worry. I got this. Again, he was thinking I was crazy, as you know, 80% of the population do when we tell them things like that, right? But of course, yeah, that's what happened. It sold within exactly 10 days. We got more than we were asking for, and we were packing up and moving. So now I'm here, building my own place and building a workshop retreat space as well, down in Machosen, just on the ocean. So very excited.
Oh, that's so beautiful. It's so amazing when you can just like lead with your heart and just like trust when those messages come forward. And for anybody out there who's watching from outside of Vancouver Island, Vancouver Island is pretty awesome. I guess I shouldn't be telling people that. That's what I'm supposed to be doing, but people are discovering it. There's a magic here. There's artists here. There's people that are intuitive. There's people that are creatively connected, and it just creates for a really nice space overall.
Oh, 100%. A funny story. Well, you know, like we always have funny stories, Andrea, like funny how spirits tell stuff. I think I'm up to now like 5 clients that have moved or are moving to Vancouver Island from Calgary. Like, I think like the last one out of Calgary switched off the lights, unfortunately, because I just think, you know, energy, well, you know, right? We're moving, we're shifting at a vibration. And now within the world, we're moving towards Age of Aquarius. So we're moving to that lighter consciousness, that lighter place of knowledge and wisdom. And people are seeking something different. Again, I bet you have this conversation with your clients all the time and you just see it coming up in the cards. Oh, you're moving job, you're moving home. We're in this shifting energy. And so many of my clients are in this point now of just they feel and sense something's going on, but they just want to connect because they want to know, well, what does it actually mean? Where am I going or what am I doing? Because they feel it. And it is happening at a global level, right? Because we're changing the frequency we're in as we move into this age of Aquarius. So the way we look at work and the way that we do work is changing. Obviously it is at the moment, and that's going to continue to evolve. So I think it's like a really exciting time to be doing what we do, you know, and be connected in the world that we're in. So
yeah. So what is your vision for the future then? When you like, you know, see like the age of Aquarius being actualized, what does that like look like or feel like to you?
To me, it feels like a society and organization that is very connected consciously, whether it's with the environment, whether it's with their understanding, whether it's with education systems, an awareness, a deeper awareness that individuals and souls are unique, but they also need to combine and come together to work together. I don't know if have you ever done any astral traveling? You know, like when you go out and you can go into future timelines and past timelines and all that stuff, because it's quite fun to do, as long as you stay anchored. But anyway, so one of the things that I love to do is sometimes I go out into projection, I go out into the future and sit and hang out there, say what it's like. And I see a world, I don't know when, because, you know, Spirit doesn't tell us necessary times, but it's almost like federalized. Do you know what I mean? Like there's not countries as such. There's organizations that are sort of global, I suppose, that focus on the world or on the environment, or focus on animal welfare, or focus on education. And it's this different way that we on Earth are going to work together in communities that will mean that countries and borders are not going to be so important, right? Because we're going to have this combination of consciousness of those like-minded people coming together. And to me, what's going on in 2020 is like the starting of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I've been doing a lot of listening to audiobooks, and I've been listening to Deborah King lately. And she was talking about the whole 2012 and how it was actually completely blown out of proportion, and that there was one reporter that went in and talked to the Mayan elders and got this one piece of information that 2012, end of the world. But what it was actually signifying was this transition, right? There's no like, you know, exact like end, like curtains coming down. It's just that, like, you know, that as human beings that we're evolving, and we have to. That's all it is that we have to, if we want to continue to be on this beautiful planet, we have to work with the planet. And of course we have to work with each other and, you know, learn how to get along, right?
Absolutely. And when you look at the young children being born and the sensitivities they've got, you know, there's a lot of children who've got allergies or sensitivities. That it's almost as if their physical form and their mental state, they're wise souls or light souls within a different, denser physical form, because they're being born for this age of Aquarius, you know, when they're going to be lighter and they're going to be accepted or connected through who they are at a consciousness level. But anyway, it's all fun. It's all fun.
For sure. So when did you first discover your abilities?
Well, I think, like Serafina was saying, most mediums probably have the same story, that we sort of know as kids, but we don't really think anything of it. You know, we have these voices ahead, you know, and I used to say, oh, can the lady help me find my keys? Or because I'd lost my keys, or can you, man in the cloak, can you tell mum that I want apple pie tonight? You know, like, because the way that as a kid you use your guides is in this way, or you give the names to your dolls. I don't know whether you ever did that, but I had one of my dolls who called Betty, who was actually my great grandmother, and I never met her, never knew her, but I know she came in every night, and her name was Elizabeth, Betty, and so, you know, that was the name of my doll. So that's how you deal with it as a child. But then as a teenager, then you tend to sort of start thinking, hey, hang on, this is a bit odd. And I remember doing journeying at night, leaving my body and finding it difficult to get back inside my body, because there's a silver cord. Again, if you've had this experience, but it's like a silver cord that goes with you energetically, the etheric cord. And I remember struggling or waking too soon and not being able to get back into my body. So I freaked myself out, basically. So then I'm like, I'm not doing that. But the main starting working as a medium and training as a medium was when my father passed away. And my granny came to me and told me that he was passing. She told me the day he was going to pass, which is really unusual because you don't, as you know, you don't often get days. But I knew that was the day I needed to be there. And I knew that I'd written a soul contract to be with him in the hospice when he passed. And it would be just me and him. And that I had already made that agreement with him before we came down as souls, that was a contract that we were going to do. And it was the most incredible experience of actually seeing his soul leave his body. My granny was sitting in the chair. One of his very best friends was up in the corner calling him, saying, you ready? Like, the beers are on the table. Come on, let's go. His Uncle Tom, as I knew him. I saw all these people arrive in this huge celebration. You know, like everyone was really, really happy. And literally his energy or soul came out of like his solar plexus in his heart up into the room. And he literally just looked there, turned around and smiled. and was just so, I just couldn't believe it. I was just sort of, the whole thing really in some way freaked me out a little bit, I have to say, and blew me away. And then for the next 2 weeks up until his funeral, he would speak to me like all the time. I was in the house and he would show me music or photos. I want this song, I want this hymn, I want this, everything, like literally as you and I are talking. It was the weirdest thing. So I went to talk to a medium. I said, hey, I've got to, like, I'm really, really busy at the moment. And could you just take this thing away? You know, like this thing about seeing everything? Because can you just, like, is there something you can do? I know, like, it seems so crazy now. Because I've got, like, register his death, and, you know, like, and I was the executor of his will. And she just smiled at me, but she was really, really nice. And she said, well, actually, let me tell you about that. She said, I'll teach you how to manage it. And she was the tutor from the College of Psychic Studies. Guess what? My guides had sent me to someone who would then become my teacher for the next 3 years on training as a medium. So that was the beginning of my journey.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Rona, for
You're so
sharing
welcome.
this evening. And you have a workshop for the Intuitive Arts Festival. And I hear you're taking everyone to Atlantis.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was talking to my guys saying, what should we do? What should we do? Because there's so many things you could do. And they're like, oh, Atlantis. It's one of my favorite places to go to visit. Many of the community and many of this tribe will feel and sense their origins, their soul origins, and being in Atlantis. And we're going to go on a guided journey there. I usually do a guided journey and we channel as well. We go as a group. So we will start on the white sands of Atlantis, overlooking the ocean. And then we will go to the Temple of Light and connect with Lord Ashtar and some of the other Ascended Masters that are connected into Atlantis to receive messages and healing. So it's going to be fun. And then I'll have time at the end to answer some questions. And I'm also doing some 30-minute readings as well on the Saturday and the Sunday. And I just like $65, and there's a special link within your registration page for people to come and chat to me privately as well. So I'm looking forward to meeting all those souls. It's going to be a fun weekend.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to seeing you at the festival. It's going to be fun. I'm excited.
You too. And then maybe we get to have tea one day.
I would love that. And come to our pop-up event on October 31st.
There you go.
We're getting together at the Da Vinci Center. It's going to be outside, so everybody can stay safe and socially distant and all of that good stuff, but that we can be, like, you know, physically together for that moment, because there is something special about that as well.
There is, definitely. Full moon in Taurus. What a great day to pick. Awesome.
Wonderful. Lots of love to you till we meet again.
To you too, Andrew. Take care. Bye.
Bye. So next up, we have Maureen Fontaine, who is coming into the room. And Maureen is an amazing practitioner that has so much to offer. Hello, Maureen. Welcome.
Hello. Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, thank you. What a great evening. We have so much talent here. It blows my mind.
Of course. This is Victoria, right?
For sure. So Maureen, tell everybody about you.
Wow, where to start? I've been on the planet a very long time. And many times. Where do I start? I'm especially interested in doing fairs and getting together with all these lovely people that are like-minded, and it's such a beautiful collective, and feels really special to be a part of it. So thanks for bringing us all together. I'm so appreciative. And I think for me, it's a place where I can really showcase who I am as a person and all the years of experience that I've garnered and have under my belt doing numbers of different things. And I think my perpetual interest in how we think and how we perceive ourselves is what drives me. I see all the time that we need validation for who we are, and we need a really nice reflection back to us that reminds us of the incredible power that we are, and the breadth and depth of our spiritual aspect. So for me, that's the work, and that's the service, and that's actually the amazing reward for being with people and holding space for them.
That's so beautiful.
personal, so intimate, so deep. Yeah, it's
So I think that last little piece just cut out. We had a little bit of a
we did.
yeah, but it sounded really good. So would you mind saying
Well,
it again? We're just gonna ask some angels to come forward and help with this internet connection for a moment here.
saying that it's really a privilege. Are we here?
Hello.
Well, hello.
Oh, yay. I've been calling in some Reiki love to help us with this
Yay.
connection. I think that your energy is so powerful and beautiful and strong that it's just knocking out the Wi-Fi.
Oh my. I'll take it.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you have a multitude of different offerings because you're a
Mhm.
medical intuitive and you do tarot and you do live blood analysis. And I was on your website and like the list of services, it was very impressive.
Aw. Well, thank you. I feel that my life has been very eclectic, and there's nothing to hide, and I'm really happy to share all that I am. I used to deliver things in little nice compartments and pockets, and keep this part hidden and only show that part over there and be kind of selective. And then I realized more and more with people that knew me well, it's like, no, this all fits together, so it has to come together. And I really thank them for encouraging me to embrace it all. And it really changed things for me. It really changed my perception of what I have to offer and the gift that it is. Um, we have to hold, it's very sacred, but we get given. And so I hold it in that way. The biology is soul speak. When I look at someone's blood, for example, which is what I do, I really can see their emotional being, and not everybody's ready to go there, but so many are, and so many come because they want to understand how they are as a psychological. It's pretty beautiful.
So that part cut out as well. Would you mind repeating it again?
Which part?
The last part I heard was psychological. That was the last.
Oh, okay. So
Ah.
yeah, so all our parts, like the psychology, biology, spirituality, and our emotional beings are all one. So in biological medicine, we always overlay, we include all of it. So just like, and we know the basics, so many people do know the basics, such as when your liver is stressed, it's your anger, or your gallbladder, you're hosting a lot of resentment and jealousy and things like that. And then when we bring it over to cards, cards will tell us also about your biology, because we'll see jealousy, anger, rage, confusion, etc. So the overlays are everywhere. And so I don't always share that with everybody, but I'm picking it up because that's part of what I do. And so another aspect of what I do is I'm a very highly trained coach, ontological coach, and as well as raising my children, all 4 of them, and teaching school. I've done so many things, so I've really learned the way of language and how to question and how to listen for what's not being said, and as well as what is being said. And for me, it's in the power of listening and being present, where most information is garnered. So cards help us to navigate what we can't speak for ourselves. And the cards actually bring the visible or the invisible parts of ourselves forward. And sometimes the parts of ourselves that we are a little bit timid to engage with. So I just love the magic of them. And I read cards in a bit of a different way. I use several decks whenever I'm inspired to work with, because I love the robust nature of a juicy conversation. And that's how I look at it. And and so it's all right, well, this one says that, and this one's agreeing over here as well. And it's really fun and deep. And I love to bring lots of um, thinking to it as well. So I like to bring lots of practical applications to the readings, and also to kind of ignite your curiosity about your own life. Because these things, you can change things. In cards, it tells us where you are right now and where you're going to go, perhaps, if you don't change things. But I can provide you and encourage you with some really lovely tools that I've learned over time, and books that might be helpful, or exercises that might be helpful. So I like to make it as a training session too, in a way. So that's really the fun of it for me. And yeah, so that's what I do.
Yeah, beautiful. So you get to watch people grow.
Oh, I
You know,
do.
I like that. That's what I'm hearing through this, is that, like, you know, you see like the growth in people, and you can like see what it is that they want, and you can help them to be able to go forward with tools in hand to go get that. That's really amazing.
And remember who they are.
Mhm.
Like, isn't it about remembering who we are? We get so lost, and we need each other to be reminded of the incredible power that we are within. It's amazing. We are amazing human beings on this earth. We're here with purpose. We're here intentionally. And to remember that there is a call out there that we need to reconnect with in order to really feel back into ourselves.
Mm. And I think that's what I love about like spirituality, like in general, is that it doesn't have like a certain dogma or a certain way that you have to be. It's all about just finding what that truth is inside, and finding the way to be able to share and express that with the world.
Oh, absolutely. And what I like about what you just said is that we forget that we are here and we have a job to do. And it's intended that we be here, and we're not just, supposed to look pretty standing over there. Well, we can do that too. But to remember that when we're in service, then we will be inspired further into our this intentional presence here in this lifetime. It's like during these crazy times, who knew that this will be happening in our incarnation? But there's an intention, there's a purpose in us being here to experience this, and we are always part of the solution. We focus on the problem, we forget that, sure, the problem is there. I get it, it's there. But also, let's lean into the purpose of us being here, and the solution that we can help others with, which is, I've kind of scrambled that up a little bit, but remembering that we're here for each other, to support and celebrate each other, and to
For sure. And that's what creates community, is that when we see like a piece of ourselves in somebody else, or that we can celebrate that. It's like, oh wow, you're like that, and like I'm like this. That's so cool, right? And it's that acceptance that of each other. And that's what helps to develop more compassion. And it's really what the world needs right now. The world needs as much love and compassion as it can get. And it's so wonderful that you're a person that can be able to help to coach people in that direction, and intuit what it is that they need as well. It's such a beautiful gift, isn't it?
Yes. I'm so grateful. It's just such deep.
So when did you first step forward on this journey? What was your first kind of just moment of knowing, especially when it came in connection with knowing something about somebody else? Because that's what's really interesting. We know so much about ourselves, but when we can tap into what's going on with somebody else, it's like, wow, this
right?
is cool.
Well, for me, it started really young. So it's like the things that got me in trouble. Like when you know things about people, but you don't have the language or the skill set to, delivery's not so smooth, things like that. So I knew things about people. What I remember is around 4 years old, and I would say things to people, and I would read cards just using decks of cards, and I would just know things and come out with the ideas before the question was asked and things like that. So that, like I say, it kind of got me in trouble. It's kind of like you're being sassy or um, out of order. My generation, you're out of order. So, and then as I went into my teens, I started having a lot of experiences with the other side in a way that I started to understand, and like these were super powerful things. And with the passing of certain individuals in my life, like grandparents, it was like boom, to the other side in a very big way. So that's when I remember. There's probably many more, but that was a really fun thing. Terrifying when you're 15,
For sure.
right?
And you're going to be offering a workshop on mediumship. It's called I Talk to Dead People. That's going to be fascinating.
It is. I believe fully that we can all do it, and we do it without knowing it already. And it's not being afraid of it. Um, I think that we have, again, so much power that we don't realize that we have. And for me, the biggest thing is don't be afraid of it. It's nothing to fear. It's just a different language. It's like traveling abroad, you don't understand the thing, but then you start to kind of get it. So it's a language that when you give it space to operate and express, then you start to understand, and communication becomes quite easy. And it's very nice, very lovely. And I lived in a funeral home for a few years, which was just a bizarre, random kind of experience. The rent was great.
Oh, I bet.
Nobody wanted to live there. But I had so much practice there, but I have had all my life. So that's been really great. So the workshop is about how do you communicate? How do you know that it's real? What do you do when it happens? And what do you like? How do you manage that? And I think it's a real practice is being with the energies without always trying to interpret them, because they will speak for themselves, right?
Absolutely.
Because we can get in the way of what the messages are if we're like scrambling and being too much in our head, right? Exactly. So really getting yourself grounded and into that super safe or super serene place is where it really opens and speaks. And I don't know if you remember I think it was Robert Monroe from the Monroe Institute. And he used to, we used to do mirror gazing and all kinds of things to watch those who had passed come through and to speak to them. And I also went deeply into shamanic studies. And I mean, you shouldn't have to study. I get that, but practice. So really tons of learning in that area, and became initiated as a full Mesa carrier in the shamanic world. And we learn to speak with ancestors. We learn to recognize them. I see them, they show up, and I work with people to show them how to watch for energies and how to interpret it. What does this type of a vision look like, or this visual? How does that speak to you? What does it want from you? Funeral home taught me that kind of vibration in that effigy is wanting you to bridge a gap for them. This one over here, not so much. And you can shoo that. You can just say, no, sorry, business is closed for today. But usually once you acknowledge that other side, it's just, again, learning to communicate. It's a form of sign language of sorts, a form of telepathy. Sometimes it's kinetic, and that can be a whole lot of fun too. So I'd like to explore that in the workshop, and again, not to be afraid of it, but to look at the fear and just see what you can allow to release in and around that, because fear is a misunderstanding, and it's actually anticipation and excitement at meeting each other. So for me, that's what I want to do with people. I want to explore that with you, and help you be more comfortable with that innate power that you have.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Well, thank you, Maureen, for
You're
joining us
welcome.
this evening. And you're going to be offering tarot readings as part
Yes.
of the festival. And so, how long of a session are you having?
Oh my goodness. I think I'm going with 20 minutes. I find 20 is a good number for me, and 20 minutes gives us that little bit of extra, and half an hour is sometimes a little too long. I like to get in quick and get it done, and it's intense, and that's about as much at a fair. That's about as much as people can take in with me. I just find that that's a really nice amount of time to work with. So that's what I'll be doing. And again, I use lots of different decks, and we jump in. I always appreciate when people come with a focus or a question. If you don't have one, I'll just dig in. It's not obligatory that you have that. And I'm not someone who tells the future as much as shows you the direction you're going, and I get into what you can do to either join that ride down the stream, or perhaps choose a different path. So yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Maureen,
You're
for
welcome.
joining us this evening. And I look forward to seeing you at the festival. And if anybody would like to book in with Maureen, you go to our page, which is intuitiveartsfestival.com, go to exhibitors, look for Maureen's beautiful face, and click book now.
Book it now.
Get your name in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Andrea.
So much for joining us. And
You're
until we
welcome.
meet again.
Okay, very good. Good night.
Good night. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us for our Intuitive Arts Festival talk show. We are going to be back again here next Thursday, so be sure to stay tuned on our Facebook page. And I really hope that you join us for our pop-up sale happening at the Da Vinci Center, where we're going to be outside, and that's happening on Halloween from 12 until 3 p.m. For those of you who are joining us that are outside of Victoria, don't worry, we'll do some lives. We want to include you guys as well, and be able to show you this beautiful place and this magical island that we live on. So thank you so much to all of our guests, and thank you so much to all of you for watching this evening. I am going to make sure that this is uploaded, so anybody that missed it can check it out on our YouTube channel. So if you'd like to find out more about our exhibitors, you can go to our YouTube channel and just search Intuitive Arts Festival. Thank you so much. Until we meet again.